only evidence we have is the Old Testament. That's all.
No, I can understand where you're coming from. You're saying this in itself is no more evidence than basically going in a circular argument to is this authentic?
Exactly my point, yes.
Okay, I can understand that. The only other layer of evidence I can bring to bear is the fact that we both agree the temple existed. Do we both agree that the temple existed?
The temple existed at one time.
Okay. Do you know what the temple was for?
For prayers. What else the temple is for? It's for worship, isn't it?
Do you know why the temple was built?
To basically cover the holies of the holies.
Okay, this is where the gap between what the monotheists understood and what you can understand based on the scant evidence in the Quran. There's a world away from the reality.
I did not
Jews
even mention the
understand.
Quran. So
No.
I think, Colin, wait. With all due respect, when you make statements like that,
Sure.
yes, without any evidence, did I mention the Quran?
No,
I did not.
No, I wasn't making
So don't say
that.
scant evidence
When
in
I
the
said
Quran.
scant, compared to the evidence that I've got here in my Torah and the references, you would agree that the Quranic references to the Old Testament would at the very best be scant in compared to all of this.
Okay.
And you don't need them. I'm not saying you need them.
Exactly. So the Quran did not come. The Quran did not come
Sure.
to prove to us what is in the Old Testament. The Quran is a book that was given to Prophet Muhammad,
Confirming what came before.
the last messengers, confirming not only what came before in terms of the teachings, also confirming the previous prophets and the messengers.
Right.
You just contradicted yourself.
No, I did not. What I'm saying is that it confirms that Moses existed, that Jacob existed,
And the temple
that,
existed.
that Noah existed,
And the
that
temple.
Adam existed.
And the temple.
I don't think there's any mention of the temple in the Quran, from what I know.
See,
I might
this
be
is my
mistaken.
point. This
but,
is my
but,
point.
But wait a minute. Colin,
The detail
two-
is lacking.
Yeah, we don't need the details for our salvation.
This is the difference between us. The details are available, but you say that they're not reliable.
Okay, no.
that be correct?
Don't change what I said.
asking.
I said the details are not necessary because they are not required for our salvation.
Okay, I understand it. Because the Quran is the final revelation,
Yes.
because the Quran is
Its
the
focus
criteria,
is
I can
on
understand.
revelation.
Essentially,
Worship
the
of Allah.
Quran is your method of exegesis.
No.
It is.
No, it's not.
Because the
Quran,
buck must stop.
the
If
Quran,
you can't believe in anything that the Quran doesn't validate.
The Quran and the Sunnah, both.
Okay.
So we have the Quran and the Sunnah. Okay. So because I asked Colin to prove to us Moses existed from the Bible,
Sure.
from outside the Bible, unfortunately you were unable to do that. Even though you tried, but you were unable.
I was unable.
You were
to,
unable to prove Moses existed without reference to the Bible.
without reference to the
Yes.
Bible.
So from archaeological perspective, you were unable to prove the existence of Moses.
Do you think?
Can we agree on that?
Do you think the Talmud confirms that Moses existed?
The Talmud. Again, the Talmud. When you talk about the Talmud, the oral tradition of the Jewish people.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, it's from the scriptures.
The oral tradition of the people who gave us the Old Testament, the Torah, have always uniformly involved Moses as the centerpiece of their whole religion. He was the person, he was the patriarch of patriarchs. Are you trying to say that there's, unless I
That's
can...
still not archaeological evidence.
Okay.
So shall we agree there is no archaeological evidence which you
Right.
claimed earlier with
Okay.
regards to Moses? Are you going to agree
With
about
regards
that?
to Moses?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, this is an archaeological evidence.
What?
The
Talmud.
Torah, the Torah. No, the Talmud.
please.
No, I'm agreeing with you. Allow me to agree with you. That's not a trap. I agree with you. I'm agreeing with
So
you.
you agree
I'm
what?
saying-
That
I'm
there is no
saying to
archaeological
you
evidence?
That my claim I can give you archaeological evidence has not been backed up by my reference to the Talmud or to the Torah
Okay, so as far as Moses is concerned, we don't have any archaeological evidence.
to prove that he exists.
Yes.
Do we need it?
As believers, we don't need it. But because that is a claim you make.
Sorry, yeah.
No, Colin. Because that was the standard you used.
Yeah.
Remember.
Moses is not a
Hold
piece
on,
of
Colin,
archaeological...
Colin, we were discussing
Yeah.
about the hadith. Yes.
Okay.
I told you that we have the science of hadith. We have the chain of narration.
Sure.
We have the matan, the body itself, to verify.
Right.
We have the ilm al-rijal, which is basically every single note within the chain of narration.
Sure.
We know who they were. We know their biographies. Yes.
Yes.
You, on the other hand, have a 1,000-year gap, which you cannot fill without. The only way you can the only way you will believe what Moses said is basically take at face value what you have in the extant manuscripts or in the Pentateuch or in the the Dead Sea Scrolls, which again date to 1,000 years after Moses.
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah, go on.
The difference between that and the hadith that we have, even the weakest hadith, yes, the da'if hadith we have, yes, even the da'if hadith, the weak hadith, they have the chain of narration, they have the matan, they have the ilm al-rijal to back it up. But you see, unfortunately for the Christians and the Jews, they do not have such a rich science to verify their scriptures. All you have to say is, yes, this is what we found in the Dead Sea Scroll in a desert a long time ago, and we are going to believe that is exactly what the people believed when Moses used to preach the Torah. But you see, this is a claim. This is nothing that you can verify.
You know what? The problem exists, though, in a whole ream of Quranic verses that actually confirm these books that you're saying I can't prove to be true.
So you need the Quran to verify your book.
For you, I do.
But it's not for me. I'm asking about you. How will you verify?
See,
so many times I've asked you this question, Colin. How will you verify? Not how will I verify. How will you, as a believer, verify? Now you're saying the only way you will fall back is on the Quran. Seriously?
No, for you, because it's the only.
It wasn't for me. The question is for you, my friend. How will Colin verify that the Old Testament that you have today in possession, which you have 1,000-year gap between the extant
Hashim, let me have a go.
manuscript?
Okay, what I have here is a 900-year predating Torah to the Quran. This is the Torah that was accessible by the community of people called the Jews, the ones on whom we base our being people of the book. The monotheistic foundations, they accept this book. They do not dispute it. They don't dispute anything in this book. This has been accepted uniformly within the whole history of Judaism, and from the earliest copies, this is it. Now,
Still doesn't prove it, does it?
Hashim is saying that the fact that this predated Muhammad by 900 years, it doesn't authenticate it. Now, the only way that he can coherently undermine this is to produce me something early.
Colin,
Can you produce
Colin,
me
you know what you have done there? When I asked you the question, you put the question back on me. Look, I don't need. Hold on, Colin. Listen to the question. I think that is the problem is you're not listening. Listen to the question. The question is for you as a Christian. Yes? Because you believe that the Old Testament and the New Testament are both revelations from God.
I do.
They're both inspirations from God. Now you see, before the Quran came, like you said, 600 years or even more, like 2,000 years since Moses, whatever you say. Despite that, regardless of that, how will you, Colin, if you were in the time of, say, before Muhammad, 100 years before Muhammad, before even the Quran was revealed.
Okay,
listen,
500 AD.
Yeah, listen. Yes. Before Prophet Muhammad was even born. Yes? Let's say you were a believing Christian. You had that book in your hand. Yes? How will you, Colin, verify what Moses said more than 1400 years, or sorry, in that time it will be like 1900 years. Yes? How will you verify it?
I'd ask the Jews.
And you will take it at face value?
I would.
You would. So the Jews will tell you.
Who would you ask?
Wait.
Who would you ask?
Wait a minute. One at a time. So the Jews will tell you. The Jews will tell you.
They'll show me.
No, they will tell you.
They won't tell me. They will show me.
They will show you. So you're telling me that if they show you the book, you'll believe it.
They will show me a copy that predates Muhammad by 900 years.
You keep saying that. Is that like a point you're trying to score there?
No, the point is...
Just because it predates something doesn't mean it's true.
If you can't show me...
Otherwise you'd become a Hindu. You know, the Bhagavad Gita predates the Old Testament by so many hundreds and thousands of years. But the thing is, you wouldn't believe in the Bhagavad Gita as the original
We're confined, unfortunately, with time and space and matter. So as far as asking for evidence, matter meaning physical things, right? When you say to me, show me evidence.
Yes. How will you verify what Moses said?
And I go back to the very earliest evidence,
which
and
is,
you claim,
how many years?
hang on, but you're saying you need to prove this wrong. I don't need to prove this right. The onus is on you because you are making the claim.
You're the one who believes in it. I don't need to believe in it. All I need to know is that Torah was given to Moses and the Injil was given to Isa.
Show me where
Colin,
the corruptions
Colin,
are.
wait a minute. Let me finish. As a Muslim, all I'm required to believe is that the Torah was revealed to Musa alayhi salam and the Injil was revealed to Isa alayhi salam. So as far as my faith is concerned, yes, I already believe that. I don't need to produce actual evidence to believe that. That is by faith. Wait a minute. Colin, wait a minute. By faith. I can believe that by faith it was given to him. I also know that over time these books were corrupted. And things were added in it, and things were removed from it. Again, this is mentioned in the Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 79, in Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 38, and so on. So this evidence is already there in the Quran that these books were corrupted. However, the Quran and the Sunnah do not say...
Penny's dropped, I understand.
No, I haven't finished. The Quran and the Hadith do not say that all of the Old Testament and all of the New Testament have been corrupted. It does not say that. But there is corruption in it. It does mention that.
Okay, Hashim, what you're
saying... Let me finish. Then... I haven't finished. You need to understand the question I'm asking you. The question I'm asking you is that without you using evidence, i.e. the Quran, because you know you don't believe in the Quran. Yes, you don't believe in the Sunnah,
and
so
I'm
you
not
cannot.
To
yeah, exactly. So for you to take support from the Quran and the Hadith would be pointless because you don't believe in it.
This is what puzzles me.
What?
I'm not required to believe in my faith, the Quran. Hashim, on the other hand, is bound to accept this surah. O people of the Scripture, you are nothing until you uphold the Torah and the Gospel and what has been revealed to you. So what Hashim is saying, I need to provide evidence that goes back beyond the 900 years prior to the Quran. But the only evidence he needs to provide is evidence 900 years later than my evidence.
No, I don't.
No, because your
Read that verse again.
Your sole root, your sole source of evidence is something that came 900 years after.
No, that's not my sole evidence.
Well, what other evidence?
My sole evidence is the Quran.
Well, I've just said that.
Okay. Read that verse again, the one you just said.
Can we just confirm that what you've just said? I made the statement that your evidence, your source of evidence is 900 years later than my evidence. I'm not required.
The point you're making?
No, the point I'm saying is you're asking me to provide you with archaeological evidence, scriptural evidence, a whole raft of evidences that actually predate the evidence I've got to show that it goes right back to Moses. This
Exactly.
is what you're asking.
And you haven't been able to provide them.
What I'm saying to you is, I can give you evidence. I can give you a quantity of evidence.
You tried, but you failed.
Hang on. And the only evidence you've got is something which is written 900 years after this that I'm not even required to believe in.
No, hold on.
This is what I don't understand.
You see that,
it doesn't make
Colin,
sense.
you see, this is very different. Why do you think I asked you for archaeological evidence?
Yes.
Because that is what you claim you have.
Okay.
But when I actually questioned you on it, it turns out you don't have anything.
Pin me down on it.
I did.
Right, pin me down again on it.
Okay.
Pin me down.
Pin you down?
Okay.
Wait. First and foremost, do you agree that that is the evidence that you claim you had?
I'm claiming that there is archaeological evidence to support the existence of the temple, and I can show you very clearly from the people of the book what the purpose of the temple was.
But my question wasn't about the temple. Remember, my question was about Moses. And you said you had archaeological evidence to prove these
evidence
things.
that links the existence of Moses with the temple. Is what I've
you know
done,
how you
and I succeeded in
Colin. You know how
you
know how you link Moses to the temple?
Yes.
If there was an inscription on the temple, wait, no, that is not archaeology. If you find listen, if you find an inscription on the temple that mentions the name of Moses, for example, then it would link Moses to the temple archaeologically. What you're saying, you have evidence in here. Wait, Colin. I don't think you understand the meaning of archaeological evidence. In order for you to link Moses,
not archaeological.
No, I didn't say Moses. I said the evidence of Moses' existence. Yes. Is for you to find an inscription on a temple, and then I would say yes, you have a link to Moses, and this is proved archaeologically.
Tell me if you think this is an adequate answer to what you've just said. You tell me. Right. What I've tried to do, and I think I've already proven it, I'm trying to link Moses with the archaeological evidence of the temple. I can't provide you with archaeological evidence of Moses because I don't know where his bones are. But
that's all I
can show you that in the history of the Jewish people, Moses and the temple. Now the temple is my link to the archaeological evidence. It is.
It's not. Unless you find an inscription of Moses in the temple, then you'll have an archeological evidence of Moses. All you have is an archaeological evidence that a temple existed, and even then, this temple, what have you got of the temple today? The Western Wall? The Western Wall was basically built much later on.
I'd ask the
yes,
Jews
you,
that
you know the stones you see there. These are not the real stones. These were built later on.
Hashim, in the Quran, does it mention the temple or anything to do with its specifications or its purpose? Does it mention?
No, it doesn't. Not that I know.
It does in here. This has never been disputed by the history of the Jewish people going way, way back. In fact, there is no recorded part of the history of the Jewish people that does anything else but validate what I've just said. And you say, hang on, are you saying?
But Colin, I never asked you about the existence of the temple.
Right.
You see, you keep going back to the temple because that's the only thing you have archaeologically available.
Of course,
yes?
yeah, what else
but you
would
see,
there be?
the reason you want to now focus on the temple
Yes.
is because you're unable to answer my question about the evidence of Moses.
What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to link Moses with the temple and show that the story, if you want, you can't pick the temple and Moses apart. They are enmeshed.
I'm not picking them up.
No, but this is my
I'm
point.
asking you, where's the evidence that Moses existed unless you show me an inscription in the temple that mentions Moses. But because you do not have that from 2,000-year-old, sorry, not 2,000, in the case of Moses it would be 3,500 years.
It into the
So
concrete.
if you have a 3,500-year-old evidence of an inscription that mentions Moses, then that would be considered as archaeological evidence. In the absence of that, all you have is faith.
Right.
That's not archaeology.
Okay. Well, look, I'm going to give you some.
I think you're going in circles. I think.
Okay. Yeah.
What we need? No, yeah, we should call it a day unless.
Okay, fair enough.
What I'm saying is, Colin, do not make.
I'll have one last.
Do not make assertions that you cannot substantiate. Yes, I can show you things from the Quran. You can show me things from the Bible. But you see, that is something which is faith-based. But obviously, there are things within the Quran and within the Bible which you can back up from archaeology. I'm not saying there aren't any. Okay. All I'm saying is that when it comes to certain things, like for example, I showed you a gap of more than 1,000 years between the extant manuscripts that you have today of the Old Testament and the time of Moses, more than 1,000 years. Now, how will you fill this gap? You said you have archaeological evidence. You said you have archaeological evidence, and then I asked you, can you show me Moses existed from archaeological evidence? And all you were able to show me is a temple, and even the temple which you showed me is actually an artist representation of what the temple might have looked like. Yes.
Yeah.
This is nothing. There's nothing wrong in that. An artist imagining what the temple might have looked like. But as far as the archaeological evidence for Moses is concerned, there is none.
Hashim, just kind of to round this up,
Yeah, sure.
because in Leviticus, God is saying to Moses, the Lord says to Moses, tell your brother Aaron, he shall not enter at any time into the holy place. Now, unfortunately, Hashim didn't know what the holy place was or its purpose behind the veil before the mercy seat. I read out the description of the mercy seat. The mercy seat was in between the two cherubs, clearly referenced here in the
What was the purpose?
The seat which is on the ark, he shall die. I will appear in the cloud above the mercy seat. That's the purpose. Can I just
Sorry, what is
finish
the
off
purpose
with it?
again?
The purpose of the mercy seat is where the presence of God would appear on the Day of Atonement. Once a
What
year,
happens on the Day of Atonement? Colin,
This is the Day of Atonement.
what happens on the Day of Atonement?
Huh?
What do they do on the Day of Atonement?
The corporate sins of the Jewish nation are atoned for in vicarious sacrifice.
Exactly. So what happens to the sacrifices afterwards?
The
Yes.
blood of the
Which is
bull
exactly what I
taken
said.
into-
Thank you very much.
The blood of the bull is taken into the
This is
temple.
exactly what I said. They used to they used to put the burnt offerings in this place, in the holies of holies, yes, and then some sort of a flame would appear. Am I right? Yes. So don't tell me I didn't know this.
No, earlier on you said you didn't.
No, I told, but you were not
said to
listening.
me
No, I said they would put the burnt offerings.
You said the sacrifices happened in the holy.
No,
place,
I didn't
which
say
they
that. I
don't.
said the burnt offerings were put there. Did you not hear?
No, the blood of the burnt offering. The burnt offering couldn't be put in there because it was being
Okay, the
burnt.
blood.
The
Now you're
blood
getting
was
technical
taken
with me.
off. No, the blood is the
Okay,
blood.
anyway, look.
Anyway, Hashim, you
Yeah.
know, God bless you. I mean, that was a bit of a fight, but we did well. I think we did
Yeah.
well. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it.
Okay, thank you very much to everyone, and Jazak Allah Khair for supporting us and for helping us and making dua for us, especially for the Dawah in the park. And maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided us this opportunity in the park every Sunday to give Dawah. And alhamdulillah, we got brothers like Colin who have discussions and we learn from each other. Yes. So sometimes a dialogue turns into a debate, and a debate might get a bit
Can I own up to a mistake?
we get carried away sometimes.
Sure. And you know, I think part of the problem is we don't ask for God's blessing on the conversation, which we should. We should ask for God to be here. And can I just say, as a Christian, the Lord thy God is one. Hear, O Israel, the Lord thy God is one. I believe in one God.
Alhamdulillah.
Amen. God bless you.
And we associate no partners with him. No, due to the owners. So yeah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and Jazak Allah Khair, and for your support and for your du'as and for sometimes you guys help us as well in the comment sections, alhamdulillah. So we learn from you guys as well, because sometimes we, obviously as being humans, we make mistakes and you correct us, and we take that on board positively. So criticism, which is constructive, is welcome. That goes for both the Muslims and the non-Muslims. So as humans, we make mistakes. We are learning constantly during the process of the Dawah as well. And inshallah, you guys are learning as well from the knowledge that we provide over here. So alhamdulillah, like they say, seeking knowledge is from the cradle to grave, and we should all aspire to gain as much knowledge as possible, both in terms of ilm of the deen and ilm of the dunya as well. So we can make the most of it in this dunya, and which will benefit us in the akhirah as well. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.